Hi, I'm Phyllis, southernfrugal.com. This afternoon we're going to make 2 pies, and I am breaking my own rules using the Pet Ritz deep dish pie crust. Now, I think this type of baking would probably work for young women who work or older women who work. We're going to actually make 2 pies, and we're going to make them both in the blender, the ingredients, and just pour them into the pre-made crust. Now, for all of y'all who are interested, guess what happened last night? I got the other 2 new spatulas in the nick of time. I was frying some sausage, and I was bending down on it. You know how sausage will kind of bow up in the middle? And I was using this and bending it down like that, and it just popped in 2. So anyway, I'm going to save it sort of as a souvenir of my baking time. Anyway, so what we want to do, I went ahead and got out my Oster blender, and because I know everybody doesn't have a Vitamix, plus it's hard to wash the Vitamix out with this. I can take the bottom of it off and put the whole thing in the dishwasher and not have to worry about it. Alright, so here we go. Alright. So the first thing we're going to do is put our wet ingredients in. So this recipe is going to be black walnut pie, and it's made almost exactly like a pecan pie, only we're using black walnuts. Now for those of you who don't know, black walnuts, you can never get a whole thing of, you know, like all of it in one piece, because with the black walnuts, the shell on them is like wood, and it's all on the inside too, so you have to kind of crush the shell and then get out the little pieces. Now, how do I know this? Because my grandparents had a black walnut tree, and we used to have to use a sledgehammer to break them. Alright, so, and by the way, got this at Sam's Club. Alright, so we're going to put the wet ingredients in first. So that would be 3 large eggs. I'm just dumping them right in. And 2/3 of a cup of light corn syrup, or you could use Karo syrup, the brown kind, if you wanted to. So I'm going to dump that in. And I did put a little bit of oil in my cup to make this come out easier. And it's still not coming out very easily. So that's 2/3 of a cup of light corn syrup, or you could use regular Karo syrup. Alright, so then we're going to put in, this is 4 tablespoons of what used to be melted butter. It's kind of congealed a little bit there, but you don't want to have it hot, putting it right in on top of the eggs. So I'm going to put that in next. 4 tablespoons of butter, and this is salted butter. And because it's salted butter, we're going to use what's the equivalent of 1/8 of a teaspoon of salt. Now, if you're using unsalted butter, you can go ahead and use 1/4 of a teaspoon. I'm going to go ahead and put the vanilla in also, and that's going to be 1 teaspoon of vanilla. There we go. And now I'm going to go ahead and put in 1 cup of just regular white sugar and 1 tablespoon of all-purpose flour. And this is just to give it a kind of a good crust on top, or a good, you know, a little kind of top over the nuts. Alright, now we're going to mix this up. We're not going to put our nuts in till the very end. Alright, so the hardest part about this would be getting out the ingredients. Alright, I'm going to leave the camera on while I'm mixing this, just to show y'all how long it takes. Alright, we're ready. down the sides just a little bit. Make sure all that flour is down in there. All right, we're just going to mix it again just for a couple of seconds, really. That's all it takes. And it's a lot easier, I think, than putting it into the, using a mixer. I don't know, I just find the mixers are a lot of trouble. All right, so I have taken out my pie crust, and I just go around and lift up the edge. I don't use these that often, but anytime I've ever used them, if you don't kind of lift up the edge, they kind of stick. And then when you cut a piece, the kind of edge of the crust comes off. All right, so we're going to go ahead and dump this in. I did have to repair this crust a little bit. Had a slit in it there and one right over there. I'm not going to poke holes or anything like that in it. All right, so we're just going to go ahead and dump this in. Scrape everything out of it. Like that. And now we're just going to dump 1 cup of black walnuts in. Just going to sprinkle them over the top, try to get them out even. Like that. Then we're just going to use a spoon to kind of make sure some of that filling is over all the walnuts. Like that. Now we're going to bake this for 1 hour at 350 degrees. And again, we're making it in the blender. In fact, why don't we just call this video Working Woman Pies, because there are going to be 2 of them. All right, so we're going to set this one aside and go ahead, and I'm going to cut the camera off. I'm just going to rinse out the blender, and we'll be right back. All right, we are right back, and I didn't wash the blender. I just rinsed it out real good because the next pie has got very similar ingredients. I got a few little drops of water. Hold on. All right, got that out. All right, so this one is going to be a buttermilk pie. Let me get my buttermilk out. I'm using this gourmet buttermilk from Walmart. I really like it. Now, if y'all don't have buttermilk where you are, you can make your own by putting 1/2 to or 1/3 cup will also work of sour cream in a measuring cup, and then finish filling that cup up with whole milk. You're going to have buttermilk then. All right, so we're going to do the same thing with this. We're going to add our wet ingredients first. So this is going to be a chocolate buttermilk pie, and it's going to call for 1 cup of buttermilk. So we're going to go ahead and put the buttermilk right in there. And again, I didn't rinse out my cup or anything. Let me turn this down. From the syrup, I just used the same cup. All right, and next we're going to need 1/4 cup of Hershey's cocoa. Now we're not putting that in yet, but I'm going to mix that. Make sure just 1/4 of a cup in a bowl. And I want to mix that. Let me see where I can sit that. I want to make sure that I mix that with the sugar. And the sugar is going to be 1½ cups. Let me just kind of shake this cup out because it's got some of the walnut things still in it. Okay, so we're going to have 1.5 cups of sugar, and we'll put part of that in with the cocoa. And now we're going to need another 1/2 cup. All right, so what I want to do is mix this cocoa all up with the sugar. And what will happen is the sugar crystals will kind of break up a lot of those little lumps that get in cocoa. And you could sift it, but to me this is just a lot easier. Just put some sugar in it and mix it up that way. That way you'll get rid of most all the lumps. They just kind of go away. Yeah. All right, got that mixed up pretty good. All right, so next we're going to add in 1/2 cup of melted butter, but that has cooled down. And again, didn't even wash my spatula, because a lot of these ingredients for both pies are very similar. All right, and now we're going to add 4 large eggs. Just dump those in. All right, and now we're going to add 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract. To make this come out quicker, I'm going to take the lid off my vanilla right there. I'm going to add 2 teaspoons. So 1 and 2. All right. So now we need to go ahead and add the rest of our sugar. There's the rest of that cup, and then the other 1/2 cup. And then we're going to put in the cocoa and the sugar that was mixed. And that's all of our ingredients. All right, so now we are ready to turn our blender on. Let me put my buttermilk over here. Put the lid on the cocoa. Just pull this back out so you can see. And there we go. All right, we're ready to mix this up. I'm going to leave it on, leave the camera on while I'm doing this. Just going to stir the sides down. I didn't even wash my spatula, because again, similar ingredients in both pies. Now what the buttermilk does is kind of calms down the sweetness of the pie, I think. All right, here we go again real quick. Filling for both pies now, and of course you can certainly make the filling to just about any pie that you're going to be baking in the oven in exactly the same way. Alright, and here's my little pie crust, and again I just lift up the edges just because when I cut the piece of pie I want to make sure this stays on, because that's one of my favorite parts about the pie, is that little brown edge. Now let's see if this is going to work and not be too much in this crust. And it is almost too much. So what I'm going to do is I will actually just put that in a little bowl and cook it in the microwave. That way I get to eat it. Alright, so we're going to put this pie and this pie in the oven, and we're going to cook them for exactly 1 hour at 350 degrees. Now, when they get done, they're going to have to cool quite a bit before we cut them. So we'll be back in an hour and a half, say. We'll see y'all then. All right, we'll be back. Hey, I wanted to come back and tell y'all that I did dip a little more out of the chocolate buttermilk pie, and I did that because it was just a little too much. So this is the dish the butter was in. I'm going to pour that in this dish, and it's a Pyrex dish, so I'm probably just going to go ahead and put it in the oven. It's about the same thickness as the batter is in the pies, and it'll be done about the same time. And the other thing I wanted to say is thank you to the person who wrote in and asked the question on the buttermilk pie, could you make this chocolate? And I thought, that is a brilliant idea. I would love that. So that's really how this came about, and all I did was eliminate the lemon juice and add the cocoa, and I'm pretty sure it's going to turn out really good. So thank you for that suggestion, and she might have already tried it, I don't know, but anyway, it wasn't my idea, it was hers. All right, we'll see y'all when all this gets done. All right, the pies are done. This is the chocolate buttermilk pie, and this is the black walnut pie. Now I've just taken them out of the oven, so they're still hot. So this will probably go down a little bit. This one cracked a little bit, but just makes it all the better. All right, y'all, we're gonna let them cool for about an hour, and then we're gonna see if we can cut them. We'll be back. I forgot to show you this. This is the extra I had from the chocolate pie because I didn't want it running over the side. Mr. Bucky had part of that and I did, and I can tell you it is really, really good. All right, we'll be back when all this cools. All right, y'all, the pies are still a little bit warm, but we couldn't wait. This is the chocolate pie. It kind of separated. Some on the bottom looks like the buttermilk pie, and the top part looks chocolate. Not sure what's going on there. That looks like the crust, I know, but it's really not the crust. It's like a pudding. I don't know why it's separated like that, but I can tell you it's really good. And here is the black walnut, and it is just super good. In fact, I've already eaten some of that. There's the bowl where we had the leftover chocolate, and me and Mr. Bucky cleaned that out. So anyway, we're both kind of on a sugar high now, I think. So anyway, here it is, and I think it turned out pretty good. I of course now wish I had made my own crust, but I didn't. So anyway, all right, we will see y'all next time. Bye for now.